Let's start it. Welcome to the fourth episode of the Kappa History Series. My name is Brother Jonathan Glenn. We have a special guest with us today. We have the 34th Grand Polemarch of our amazing fraternity. He is here. He's going to be answering some questions for us, and I just believe that we're going to receive a lot of wisdom from him. He's done an excellent job of leading us, and I just know that he's going to give us a lot of the Kappa history and wisdom for a lot of the brothers in the Saginaw alumni chapter, or whoever would get a chance to see this and to use it as we move forward, to continue to bring the bond closer and closer. So welcome, sir. Do you have anything just to say before we get started?
No, brother, it's just I'm glad to be here. Thank you for accommodating me. I will tell the listening audience that I almost blew it. I almost missed the interview because I had the wrong time. But thank you for accommodating me.
No problem. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So for our first question, please share your journey to Kappa Alpha Psi. Why Kappa, and what led you to this decision?
Okay, the journey to Kappa Alpha Psi started, oh my God, back in the early 1970s. First of all, I was initiated November 23rd, 1974. But prior to that, in St. Louis, which is where I'm from, I kind of knew a lot of the Kappas because the Kappas had a lot of events. They had community service events. They obviously had parties. There was a big Kappa house in the part of town that we call the Central West End. And I used to go to all of their parties, and they had parties at St. Louis University. And so that's how I became aware of Kappas, right? But then I graduated and went to college at the University of Kansas. And there was a fairly substantial Kappa presence there because, single letter chapter had been around for a long time. It's the Mu chapter.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got to know a lot of brothers there. And there was this one young brother. He was actually not very tall. And when he came to my apartment door, I peeped out the peephole and I couldn't even see him. Because he wasn't very tall, right? So, but then I opened the door and he was decked out. He had on a sweater, very much like yours, although if I remember correctly, it was a cream sweater. And it had, the Kappa coat of arms, the whole thing on it. A brother named Quentin McPhail, we call him QT. And he sat down and asked me about it. And at the time I was playing basketball. I went to KU on a basketball scholarship.
Okay.
And I didn't really think that I was going to have time to do it. There were 3 Kappas on the team already. And I knew the problems that they had pledging. And I wasn't sure I wanted to go through those same issues with our coach. But I went to the informational meeting. He asked if I could at least do that. Did that with 2 of my teammates. Decided this is something that I might really, really want to do. And so I decided to do it. The 2 teammates that went with me, they decided not to do it because of the time commitment. And that's how I got to Kappa. So November 23rd, 1974, one day before Thanksgiving, I was initiated into the fraternity.
Wow.
And it'll be 47 years this year.
47 years. Congratulations.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
So doing that and college basketball and studying, that's a heavy load.
It was. But, when you really want to do something, you find time to do it. You find a way to do it. And I did. Some things had to suffer, like dating. Also, I probably would not have had a lot of time to date anyway because the basketball schedule was pretty rigorous. So I really didn't miss much. It's just that free time that I might have had, I lost it. And so I was either studying, playing basketball, playing games, or going to class.
Wow.
But it pays off, right? Anything worthwhile is worth working for, right?
Oh, yes, sir. Hard work pays off. I remember
That's right.
My high school football coach saying that, and I'm 40 and I still hear that. Hard work pays off, hard work. So
I agree with him.
All right, so our next question, what positions have you held within Kappa?
Whoa, all of them. I mean, I can start at the new chapter, my undergraduate chapter, where I was I was dean of pledges, and then I was Polemarch,
Mm.
right? And so I've also been Polemarch of my alumni chapter, the St. Louis alumni chapter. I was Polemarch of the Middle Western Province, Province Polemarch.
Mm.
And now I am Polemarch of Grand Chapter, which kind of runs the gamut, right? It
Yeah.
kind of, which is kind of cool, and I'm pretty proud of that. But I've also held other positions. I was junior vice Polemarch of the province. I was vice Polemarch of the chapter. I was senior vice Polemarch of Grand Chapter. I've also been chairs of several committees. I was chair of the membership intake task force back in, man, I guess that was like in the early 2000s, maybe 2001, 2002. And I was also the chair of the task force that rewrote the code of conduct and rules of disciplinary procedure.
Okay.
So that document that we're using now, the task force that I chaired, prepared it. It will soon be, um, um, I mean, there's another code of conduct coming, so it'll be superseded by this new code of conduct that's coming down the pike. But right now, it's the document that the task force I chaired prepared.
Right. Did you always know that you wanted to be in leadership within Kappa? Were you just like a natural leader and they kind of, so when you cross, they're like, okay, get to work type of thing, or what is
No.
type of, or did someone mentor you to be, one of the leaders in Move?
Oh, I had several mentors. There are guys who were just giants in Kappa Alpha Psi that kind of took me under their wing. There was a brother named Noah Webster Moore. And he was a 1934 initiate of the University of Kansas, the MU chapter. And there was Harold Piper, who was a 1935, and I might have those flipped, but they were 34 and 35 initiates at the MU chapter. And they were both members of St. Louis alumni chapter.
Hmm.
Right? So, I mean, it's one of those situations where I've been financial every year of my Kappa life. I have never been unfinancial. So when I left the University of Kansas in 1977, I immediately went to the St. Louis alumni chapter and joined it, which, by the way, I encourage all young brothers to do that. When you leave your undergraduate chapter, go straight to your alumni chapter, right? And
Sure.
join it. All right. So the thing of it is that when you do that, I've never wanted to be what some brothers call pew brothers. The brothers just kind of sit back and kind of watch everybody else do everything. Because the way I have fun in organizations is that I participate. And to me, that's the only way you can really get the best out of an organization is to participate in it. And so I volunteered, whatever they wanted me to do. I mean, hell, there were times when I was the housing manager, St. Louis alumni, right? And I would go down and cut grass.
Mm.
Cut grass and help paint and take the trash out and that kind of stuff as a young alumni brother. And then brothers see that you're willing to work, and a lot of times brothers they just need help, and they say, okay, if this brother's willing to help, let me give him some responsibility. And so I did all sorts of jobs, man. I would clean windows at the chapter house, and I became a lawyer during that time. Right, from 78 to 81, I was in law school, got a law degree, and then they realized that I had some additional talents that I could apply. And brothers are not shy about utilizing your talents, right?
Oh, yes, sir.
So, so then I started doing things like working on housing contracts because we had to move from the house we were in because the neighbors were raising hell. And so we bought a new, we didn't buy it. We actually built
Oh, wow.
a new facility in in collaboration with the city of St. Louis. And so I used my legal talents to help draft agreements and contracts and review that sort of thing. For the new house. And then after that, we had to lease the house from the Kappa League Foundation because the chapter could not own the house according to the agreement with the city. They wanted a nonprofit to own the house. And so I drafted the lease between the Kappa League Scholarship Fund and St. Louis Alumni Chapter. And it's basically the same lease that we're operating under right now. And so, you do that, and then other things come down the pike, right? Reclamation. They asked me if I would head up the reclamation committee, and we had events that we planned and implemented that helped build our chapter up to, the 150, 175 brothers, there are right now. So, yeah, I mean, it just things come along the way. And if you're willing to take them on, the more you take on, the more brothers are willing to give you. And the more brothers are willing to give you, the more you can show what you got. And they just keep moving you up. They just keep moving you up. And the one thing that I can tell you, Noop, is that, and this is the truth, I have never sought any office that I have achieved.
Wow.
I have never sought. I've never said I wanted to be it. I've always had brothers come to me and said, you ought to consider this. And again, to me, I get the most fun when I am participating in an organization. And if a brother thinks I need to consider it, I'm going to consider it. Now, I have not always done everything that brother said I needed to consider.
Sure.
But I've done enough to put me in the place where I am now.
That's very powerful. I'm one of the leaders of the leadership office at Central Michigan University. And one of the things that we always talk about is leaders don't have to seek out positions. Positions find leaders.
Seems to be the truth.
Yeah. That's amazing. What has been the most...
The truth. Yeah.
Yep. Sorry about that. What were you saying?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I think we got a delay going on here.
Oh, okay. What has been the most rewarding part of being the Grand Polemarch?
Oh, by far, it is the interaction that I get to have with brothers like you. Right? It is. I talk to brothers. I established a 34th Administration webpage, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with it or not. Hopefully, you are. And that gives me an opportunity to talk to brothers every day, 7 days a week, sometimes until the wee hours of the night. Brothers are hitting me up. And I invited them to do that. I gave them my cell phone number.
Oh, I remember. I was
like, what is
doing?
And they have used it. But that's why I gave it to them. Mm-hmm. And so, by far, being able to interact with the brothers, to get their ideas, just to kind of shoot the bull with them. Hopefully, you've seen some of my videos, and the name of my videos are called Bar Talk. Right. Now, I had a couple of preacher brothers hit me up on that, and they said, well, why are you glorifying drinking and da 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 da? And I had to explain to them that that's not the purpose. That's not why I call it Bar Talk, right? Because I rarely drink. I've got a favorite drink, single malt scotch, but I rarely drink. I never drink at home by myself. And the only time that I really might have a drink is either I'm with my family or I'm with the brothers. Mm-hmm. And some of the most stimulating and enjoyable conversations and informative conversations I've ever had with brothers have been at a bar. Hotel bar, doing a province council or a grand chapter, because I like, mingling with the brothers and just going down and sitting around talking. And some of the best conversations I've had, not only with brothers, but, I'm a lawyer, with lawyers in my profession, we have them at a bar. I don't know why. I've got a theory. Theory is when they get to drinking a little bit, they get uninhibited. Right? And they don't care what they say to you at that point.
Yeah.
But that's when they are the most candid. And that's what I want from them. I want a very honest and candid conversation. And we have so I named my videos Bar Talk because it's an extension of what I do personally with the brothers. And during this pandemic, I'm trying very, very hard to have an extension of what I would do naturally with the brothers if we were face to face. Right. So that's what I enjoy the most by far. I mean, there are other things I definitely enjoy about being Grand Polemarch, but that's the most rewarding.
I would have to tell you, like when I, befriended you on Facebook, and when you responded to me, I was shook. I was like, oh crap, like he checks his messages. Because I think I sent you like a happy birthday. And you're like, thank you, Noop. I was like, whoa. And then, when we were setting this thing up, you were so grateful to, give me some of your time, which I am very, appreciative. I was sitting down with Brother Ken Glass and Brother Des Daniel and doing something like this. And they asked me a question about, like what I want to be. And I said, I just want to be the best historian for Saginaw alumni, as I can. And, if doors open up from there, I'm okay. Like if it does. And I said to myself, what would be really, really good for the historian Saginaw alumni chapter if I can sit down and talk to our Grand Polemarch. So when you responded that quickly, I was like, you got to be kidding me. So, so I appreciate your, and I hope this doesn't sound too simplistic, but I appreciate your normalcy. I appreciate, Tyrone Harge is one of the men who made me, and he said, our diamonds shine the same. And I've always taken that to heart. When I walk in a room, I never want to be the greatest person inside the room. And I get that from you. And I, having you as a leader has been absolutely amazing to just sit and watch you speak and watch you lead. So, again, thank you very much for this.
Well, no, thank you, brother. I appreciate this. And the more I get to talk, I mean, I enjoy talking to the brothers about Kappa issues. I enjoy talking to young brothers, especially, man. And I hope you're not offended if I call you a young brother. But
oh yeah, I am not offended.
Yeah, I really enjoy talking to the young brothers because you all have so much energy, right? And you have so much insight into things that I need insight into.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, you have a level of technology and a level of experience in things that I have not had access to. I mean, simply because I'm older,
Mm-hmm.
right? But so I stay up to speed. I mean, you're about the age of my daughters, right? And that's the way and I've always stayed in touch with the younger brothers actually through them, because as I was coming through the ranks, they always knew the undergraduate brothers, and they were always hanging out with them, partying with them, and they'd come over to the house or whatever. And so, yeah, anytime I get a chance to do something like this, I jump at it.
This is actually a great transition into our last question. Is what words of encouragement or wisdom would you want to share with the younger generation of Kappa?
Yeah. So there is so much, because throughout my career, not only as a Kappa man, but as a lawyer and as a businessman, because I was in the corporate world, the head of litigation in the corporate world for almost 20 years. Right? And what I tell young lawyers, young business people, young Kappas is that, the one of the biggest things that will affect the trajectory of your life is who you hang out with, who your associates are. Because I've seen it way too many times out on the streets because, I'm from a huge family, right? And I saw my brothers and sisters go through it. The brothers who, or the siblings, I should say, who kind of they were very circumspect about, with whom they hung out. You want to hang out with people that are going to move you onward and upward. You don't want to hang out with people that are going to bring you down.
Mhm.
And most of the time, we're hanging out with people who will bring us down because it's fun.
Mhm.
Right. You don't have to do anything. Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to be on your P's and Q's because they're not making you be on your P's and Q's. But that's where you need to be if you want to get to where you want to go in life. Right. So hang around people that are going to move you onward and upward. And I tell young folks today, man, who gives a damn if somebody calls you a nerd? Who
Right.
cares?
That's
All the nerds I know right now, back in the day when I was coming up, they're running everything.
mm,
They're running everything, right? And all of the folks who were so-called cool and wanted to just kind of hang out and do sort of things, they're not so much,
right.
right? Not so much. So that's the one thing I tell them. But the other thing I tell them is that how much I appreciate them, the young folks, because they have volunteered to be the future of our nation and the future of our culture. Now maybe it was involuntary and
Sure.
involuntary voluntary,
Right.
but you all have taken on the mantle and you all have decided this is what we want to do and the future is ours. And all of these folks who are in position right now, at some point, we got to take care of them, right? And I really appreciate that, brothers. I really do. I really appreciate the fact that you all are willing to do that. So, number one, do yourself a favor, hang out with people that are going to move you onward and upward. And secondly, thank you for volunteering to be our future.
That's great wisdom. So many. You sound like my father saying that, of course, but you know, you did that. Wisdom is huge for our next generation of, you are the future. I mean, like, we are the future. Like, no, I mean, there's no running away from it.
That's right. That's right. And
Yeah,
I'm asking you to take it seriously.
it's good.
Take that responsibility seriously because the world and our culture, they are going to ask a lot of you. Trust me. I
Mhm.
know this, man. They're going to ask a lot of you. And there is no doubt in my mind that you have the capacity to respond in glowing colors to what they ask of you. But get prepared. Get prepared. And you prepare yourself by doing number one, making sure that you all as a group are moving each other onward and upward and not bringing each other down.
Amen to that. Well, sir, I appreciate your time. That last nugget, I'm gonna take some of that for me too. I always tell people, I tell my students a lot, like, we should practice pruning every single year.
Yep,
And if things, habits, people, if they're not reaching the mark of where you see yourself in the future, it's time to
that's right.
prune some things away. So what you just said was absolute wisdom, and I appreciate it. And I'm gonna take a little bit of that for myself, if you don't mind.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. This has been great. I know the brothers in our chapter is going to love this, just a chance just to see this part of you. I learned a lot about you. I didn't know. I didn't really, I always knew that you play sports. I didn't realize it was basketball. For some reason, in my mind, it was football. Um, but, just seeing where you started and seeing where you are now, is something very human about it. And I just love this opportunity to get a chance to speak with you. And I know the wisdom that you've shared is going to be felt by a lot of brothers. So I definitely appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate you, brother. And I hope I see you soon in person.
I would love that. We just had our chapter meeting yesterday, and I just felt so alive talking to those brothers. but I really miss the face-to-face communication.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
All right, brother, you stay safe.
same to you. Blessings to you and your family.
Thank you, brother. Take care.